Hey, so some of you already know that I'm a gold medalist from XLRI Jamshedpur, and I kind of always had one of the top few ranks in school. I also stood second in college. And trust me, there is a method to this madness. Today, I will answer some of your biggest questions about exams. Like, what exactly do I study? When do I study? How much do I study? How many times do I revise? And I will also tell you that one study method that is the best to help you ace your exam, and my secret technique that helped me become a topper. So, hey everyone, this is Chetna and you're watching ChetChat. This content, by the way, is also available as a podcast on Skill Up with ChetChat, available exclusively on Spotify. The link is in the description box, so make sure you follow the podcast. And now, let's get cracking with our 9 big questions to help us ace any exam. Question number 1, how much to study? So I want to hear from you first. What is the answer to this question? How much should we study right before an exam? Tell me, comment right below. Well, many of my classmates would tell me that more was better. But I always ensured that I got 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night and that I was eating healthy. Every time I pushed myself to study for more than 8 to 10 hours a day, I was not able to focus the next day. And in fact, I lost more time than I gained. I learned that my mental faculties needed to work at the highest level and my sleep could not pay the price of my revision. I noticed that my alert and sharp mind would retain more than my exhausted mind. It's not about how much we can eat, but about how much we can digest. Question number 2. What to study? Does this question confuse you? How do you decide what to study? Where to begin our revision? Leave me a comment below and tell me how you address this problem. I use a technique which I call the emphasize exclude method. I would take my syllabus or curriculum. This could be a board exam syllabus, it could be a music curriculum. Now identify the areas to emphasize, the most important topics and frequently asked questions. Also, I would pick out areas to exclude, minor topics or unimportant details, maybe a project which has already been completed. This choice of emphasize and exclude will also depend on how much time we have left for our exam. I found that the 80-20 rule worked for me. 20% of the material is always the most important, and I would specifically look for that. Question number 3. How many times to study one topic? Now quickly tell me in the comment section below. Should we study the entire chapter in one go or break it up into smaller chunks? Write down your thoughts on this quickly, and in the meantime, let me give a shout out to Ankana Chakravarti for leaving this wonderful message under my last video. And the rules are the same. Leave a comment below for me with the hashtag ChetChatters. Okay, so now how many times to study one topic? I found that spacing out the same topic over multiple sessions was way better than cramming the full chapter in one go. And each time I would sit with the same topic, but I would try using a different method. Maybe sometimes I would read, sometimes I would recall, sometimes I would test myself, maybe see a video one time, or maybe even use flashcards another time. So, how many times should we repeat the same topic? You tell me. I did some research on this and discovered that the ideal number is 5. To cover each piece of information, the ideal is to have 5 study sessions equally spaced. Question number 4, the big one. Which one single study method is the best? Okay, I'm giving you 4 study options. You tell me which one you think will work best right before an important exam. Okay, I want to see your answers right now in the comment section. Study method 1. Read the book and your handwritten notes. Study everything till you're sure you remember it. Method 2. Test yourself. Use mock tests. Third one, shut the book and try to recall the information. And fourth is concept mapping. Create a mind map by looking at the book. Now write down your options in the comment. Is it 1, 2, 3 or 4? Which is the best method? This is a difficult choice. I'm sure you're thinking that each person would benefit from a different method on the basis of their own style, right? Wrong. I will tell you the one best study method to use at the last minute, which has been proven by researchers using large amounts of data. Okay, so the second most effective study method was active free recall. Close the book and try to recollect. Students using this method remember about 50% more than those who are just reading or using concept maps. So, if you chose active recall, the option number 3, then you got the second best answer. Well, that doesn't mean that reading and making concept maps are not useful techniques. They are. They are very useful in the early stages of understanding a topic, maybe for the first time. So, if the second best method was active free recall, then which one was the best method? The best study method to ace your exam is testing, solving mock tests, trying to solve questions and problems without looking at the text clearly outperform the others. Now, what tops this? If you can get feedback on your mistakes on the test and keep improving each time. Question number 5. Which mock test to prioritize? Now tell me, there's so many mock tests in the market. Which ones should we solve? What I did, and my answer here is by using the 85% rule. What does that mean? I'm going to explain to you. I noticed that if I was getting 1 out of 3 questions on the mock test wrong, then I needed to go back and understand the concept better. But if I was getting nearly every problem right, then it was time to up the level of difficulty. So what is the 85% rule? It means that 85% of the problems can be solved by us and 15% of the problems we find a little challenging. This 85% rule maximizes your growth by hitting the difficulty sweet spot. So the best route was to pick up mock tests where I was able to solve about 80-85% of the problems correctly, and then I got feedback on the ones that I got wrong. Legendary boxer Muhammad Ali was well known for his physical prowess. In the push-up routine, at first he was keep going relentlessly without counting. And once he was beginning to get tired, he would slow down and start counting loud. 1, 2, 3. When asked why, he said, once I get tired, I push myself further and start counting because those are the ones that count. What a champion. Question number 6. How to study a new topic. Now we saw that close to a big exam, when you're revising important topics, taking mock tests work best. But what if you're approaching a topic for the first time? So close to the exam, we're starting a new topic. Now put a comment down and tell me, what is the best approach to study this new topic? Read it from line to line, line number 1 to line number n, read class notes, or what? Now this is my secret technique which I'm sharing with you, and I call it the forward testing effect. Most regular students would study something and then test themselves. But here's what I did. I flipped this. I would take a sample test on the topic, or maybe try solving the back of the chapter questions before I started reading the chapter. At least read through, kind of went through the questions cursorily before I walked into the class, before even the chapter began. This was my mind's way to adjust, to spot information that looked like the solution and understand the patterns in the information better. But sometimes there are those topics when the reputation of that topic precedes the actual learning. You hear tales from others about how difficult this chapter is, and you're kind of expecting that level of difficulty. Not fair. Not fair to you, not fair to the chapter as well. I learned to start a new topic as a beginner. As the famous cricket adage goes, always play the ball and not the bowler. The bowler's reputation has nothing to do with the delivery in front of you. Question number 7, where to study? Do you think we should always study on a table like this or a library? Once again, I want to hear from you. Where do you study and which place works best for you? As for me, I think I could study in a garden also. It's all right. One thing I've seen is that every time I changed the place, it had a positive effect on my learning. So I would try to study in multiple places at home or at school till I found the spaces where I could focus the best. And somehow the library just never worked for me. It was too distracting. Who's coming in? Who's talking? Now comment and tell me if the library works for you. Question number 8, how to really understand. Time is short. Cramming is not a good idea. We need to understand core concepts well in order to ace our exam. I used 2 ways to really understand core concepts deeply. First, I use what I call the magnifying glass principle. Now, of course, I know that practice makes perfect. But the question is, what should we practice? If I wanted to learn to play an instrument, I would practice chords. Similarly, when I was learning core concepts, I would practice core skills like making diagrams, balancing equations, developing arguments in an essay, research skills, writing skills, etc. The second way to truly understand core concepts is to use the Richard Feynman approach. This really worked for me. I would teach the concept without looking at the source material to my stuffed toy or even to Simbi. The idea is to teach it to someone who has no prior knowledge of the topic. And I learned that if they could understand, then I too could really understand the concept. Question number 9, how to beat exam stress. How do you beat exam stress? Leave me a comment on your special secret. Meantime, what I would do is I would take full-length exams, exactly like the final exam, and simulate the same conditions. I would sit for the test at one go without opening my book or taking a break. And preferably, I would do that at the same time and the same duration. Now, I once had an exam at 2 p.m. and I was just not able to focus because that was my nap time. So I learned to adjust my body clock to make sure that I was awake and alert at the same time as the exam. I would make it resemble the exam hall as realistically as possible, maybe even keep a water bottle next to me. I found that this helped me recall the information during exam conditions. And the times when I would take my mock test sincerely, the actual test would feel like just another day at the office. And with that, I wish you the very best for your upcoming exams. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more such research content. And happy learning!